Welcome guys. I'm so excited to welcome you to the first practice in this series, and the theme of today's practice is winter, and winter is symbolic of the time when we are bleeding or menstruating. So we're really going to look to nourish the body today, help with the process of elimination, and really restore, promote a sense of grounding and just a celebration of what our bodies are doing during this time. Now, if you have an irregular menstrual cycle, or you identify as a woman but don't have a physical menstrual cycle, then that's absolutely fine. You can track your cycle against the moon cycles, which is why sometimes we call our periods moon time, or our moon cycles. So energetically today we'll be working with the new moon. And when we're bleeding, when it's the new moon, it's all about setting intentions for the month or for a period of time ahead. It's really about letting go of anything that doesn't serve us anymore. And physically we're letting go, we're eliminating, but also mentally we may be letting go of a few things. You may find yourself wanting to physically clean your space or your surroundings, or tidy things and get things in order, and that's a natural part of that phase in our cycle. We're really looking to let go of anything that isn't serving us and start to call in and set intentions and sow the seeds for the months ahead, or the weeks ahead, or the days ahead. Really sowing the seeds and hoping to reap those rewards in our spring and summer phases. So physically you may be feeling quite tired now, or you may start to have some of your energy back from that premenstrual phase, but still wanting to take it slow, not taking anything too quickly or too hard at this stage. So that's really what we're going to do in today's practice. Just take it nice and slow, promote a sense of grounding, and just celebrate our bodies today. And for anyone who wants to know more about kind of menstrual cycle awareness and tracking your menstrual cycle, I have so many books that I can recommend, and I will definitely do a video on that at a later stage. But when we talk about kind of tracking our cycle against the seasons, such as winter, spring, summer, autumn, I highly recommend that you read this book, Wild Power. It's from the founders of the Red School, Alexandra Pope and Shani Hugo Wurlitzer, and it's honestly life-changing. It's amazing. So I highly recommend this book, and I will be drawing on learnings from this book in this series. We are going to be using a couple of props. So if you have a couple of blocks, that will be really handy, and we'll be ending with a restorative pose. So if you have a bolster, you may want to grab that, but if you don't have a bolster, that's completely fine. I'm using 2 bed pillows. I don't know if you can see them. So just grab a couple of those, and I'll see you on the mat. Okay, so we're going to start today's practice supine, which means laying down on the floor. So you may choose to come into Shavasana, which is corpse pose, which is fully supine on the floor with your arms and legs splayed out. Or you may decide that you want to bend the knees and have the feet nice and flat and come in that way. So completely up to you and how you're feeling today. But we will begin supine. And you may choose to just rest the palms on the belly, on the womb space, and just send some love to that part of the body today. If you're practicing after work or before work, or your kids are sleeping, or you've just managed to sneak some time for yourself, I guarantee that you will have lots of things running around in your head, to-do lists, plans for dinner, whatever it may be, work. So I just invite you, if you can, to release those thoughts and just bring your awareness back to the breath. We're just trying to collect all those scattered pieces of ourselves and bring the awareness into the body. Wonderful. Just taking one final deep breath here, and then exhaling. Wonderful. So when you're ready, we're going to release the feet from the ground, draw the knees in towards the body, and we're going to keep the left leg nice and suspended and take the right ankle over the left knee. Now it's really important that we keep both of our feet nice and flexed here and active, because that's going to protect the knees, and obviously we don't want to cause any injury with any of our practices. So this is figure of four pose or recline pigeon, and what we're going to do is just thread the hands in between the figure of four pose, place the hands on the back of the left leg, and just start to draw that left leg in towards the body. Now you should feel a lovely lengthening in the right glute, and if you're not really feeling much or you want to intensify that stretch, then you can just press very gently that right elbow against that right knee, and that should intensify the feeling in the right glute. Just taking one final deep breath here, and when you're ready, we're going to release the hand and just take that knee over so that it's twisted over the left. We're going to shuffle our hips over to the right side and then come into a supine twist. So taking those legs over to the left side, gosh, can't get my words out today, and coming into a supine twist. Now, if this feeling is too strong with the knees stacked on top of each other, then you may decide to release them and just have them just one on top of the other. That's completely fine. What I really want you to focus on is keeping both shoulders firmly rooted into the mat. We're going to elongate the arms or come into a cactus position, and just making sure that our gaze is the opposite side of our knees. Now you may feel some clicking, some releasing of the lower back. That's completely normal, and that just means that we're releasing some lovely tension that we carry from sitting down all day. Now this stretch is lovely for the SI joint, really lengthening the psoas muscle, releasing the hips. So just enjoy that stretch for one more breath. We're going to draw the knees back in towards the body and take that on the other side. So this time, left ankle comes on top of right knee, keeping those feet nice and flexed again. Coming into our figure of four pose as we thread the arms behind the back of the leg and just draw that right leg in towards the body. Taking the left elbow against the left knee, if that feels good, to intensify that stretch. And just taking one final deep breath here. Wonderful, guys. This time releasing the hand, stacking the right knee over the left as we shuffle over to the left side this time, and then taking the legs over to the right as we come into a supine twist on the other side. Remembering to keep both of those shoulders firmly pressed into the ground. Gazing towards the opposite side of the knees. And then when you're ready, slowly coming back up to center. And just giving yourself a little hug. Just rocking from side to side, just massaging the lower back. Wonderful. So we're going to take the hands behind the legs now and just start to gently rock and roll. Starting small, just rolling up and down the spine, releasing synovial fluid to help warm up the spine, and then walking up to a seated position. We're going to just check in with the breath here. So coming into something called thankful breath and bringing the palms to heart center. As we inhale, we're going to take the palms up towards the ceiling and then bring our hands into Yoni Mudra. So 4 fingers together, thumbs are together, coming into a beautiful diamond shape. As we exhale, we're just going to press those hands down and just rest the hands on the womb space just for a moment. As we inhale, bringing the palms together as we reach them towards the sky. And exhale. And syncing this movement with breath is a really great way to be more mindful with the breath, but also to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's going to help promote a sense of calm and peace in the body and the mind. So I love to do this whenever I'm feeling a bit stressed or just want to feel a bit more grounded in my body. Wonderful. And then when you're ready, we're going to just roll over the legs, coming into a tabletop position. So hands are underneath the shoulders, knees are hip width apart, and we're just coming into a cat-cow stretch. So as you inhale, dropping the belly, rolling the shoulders away from the spine, really opening up the chest as we gaze forward. And then as you exhale, pressing the palms into the mat, really doming the spine. Inhale, roll those shoulders away, open up the chest. And exhale, dome the spine. Just taking a few more rounds in your own time. And exhale. So just starting to work into those joints, warming up the spine. And don't feel that you need to stick to these static poses. You may decide that you want to just move a little into that stretch, just to release the back or any other niggles that you may be feeling. And that's completely fine. Just really do what works for your body. Good, just taking one more round. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring the feet together, take the knees out wide, nice and wide to the width of the mat, and just draw the sit bones towards the heels as we come into Balasana, or child's pose. So just walking those hands out in front, resting the forehead on the mat, and just taking a few deep breaths. You may decide that you want to come up into the fingertips just to intensify the opening in the shoulders, and that's completely fine. Just taking one more round of deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, we're going to release the forehead from the ground, tuck the toes, and just walk the hands to meet the feet as we come into Balasana, or yogi squat. So Balasana is all about opening the hips. And so you may not want to open the hips today. You may want to keep those hips nice and closed, and that's completely fine. So if that is the case, then instead of spaying the knees outwards, we're going to take the knees in. And that's completely your prerogative and up to you and exactly how it feels good for you in your body. So just do what works for you. For everyone who's coming into our full variation of Balasana, don't worry too much about your feet not reaching the floor. Mine definitely don't, and it doesn't mean that you're doing the pose wrong. It's just the structure of your body, and that's completely fine. If you want to feel more grounding, so if you want to feel a connection between the feet and the earth, then you may decide that you want to take some blocks or a cushion underneath the feet. So completely up to you. Alternatively, you can walk the feet out a bit, and that may get your heels closer to the ground. What I really want you to focus on here is lengthening through the spine and not rounding the spine or rounding the shoulders. So it's really common when we come into Balasana to kind of hunch over and come into that kind of variation, but we really want to focus on lengthening through the crown of the head, lengthening through the spine. And to help with this, we can use the elbows to press the knees outwards, and this is going to give us some more space to really lengthen and open the chest, bringing the palms to heart center and Jali Mudra as we take a few deep breaths here. Wonderful. Taking one more deep breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to plant the palms onto the mat and then just start to lengthen through the legs coming into a nice restorative forward fold Uttanasana. So you may want to keep your feet around hip width apart for this one. We're going to take a generous bend in the knees and just really let our head draw towards the floor. So you may choose to just let the palms graze onto the mat, or you may want to take opposite elbows. If you're feeling a bit more like you want to open up the upper body, then you can take the arms behind you, clasp the hands, and just draw them to the ceiling. Now, I can never stay still in this pose. My body wants to move every time. So you may decide that you want to just shake the hips side to side. Just enjoying the restorative nature of this pose. You may feel the blood rushing to your head, and that's a lovely restorative feeling. And then when you're ready, pressing those feet into the earth, taking a nice deep bend in the knees, we're slowly going to roll ourselves up vertebrae by vertebrae. Head is the last thing to come up as we come into Tadasana, mountain pose. So we're going to step out now, nice and wide, coming into a lovely star position, and then just turning our feet towards, so that they're facing towards the shorter ends of the mat. So we're coming into goddess pose now. So we're going to bend the knees so that they're kind of bending outwards, really sinking the hips down, and then taking the arms out nice and wide. You may decide to come into a beautiful mudra here, so completely up to you. We're just going to take a few breaths in and out of goddess pose. So as you inhale, just drawing those hips down, and as you exhale, coming back up to star position. Inhale, drawing those hips down, bending the knees, feeling the power in that goddess pose. We are celebrating ourselves today. And exhale. 2 more rounds as we inhale, drawing those hips towards the earth. And exhale. Final round, inhale. And exhale. Wonderful, guys. So we're coming into Utthita Trikonasana now. So we're going to turn that right foot in so that's facing the long side of the mat, but keeping that left foot nice and turned out. So traditionally, Trikonasana is taught with the front foot tracking on the middle of the back foot. But if you feel that you need more stability today, a lot of the time when we're on our period, we can feel a bit clumsy or feel out of balance. That's completely normal. So if you want to give yourself a bit more grounding and stability in the pose, then you may decide just to widen the stance between the 2 feet. So instead of them tracking in a straight line, you may just want to walk them out a bit more, and that's going to give you more stability to really come into the pose. What I want you to focus on though is drawing that back hip towards the back of the room, so the right hip drawing backwards and the left hip drawing forwards, so that we're coming into as much of a straight line with the body as we can. Drawing those shoulders away from the ears as we lengthen through the arms. Inhale as you hinge forward, and exhale as you place that left hand either on left shin or the inside of the left ankle, or you may want to place your hand on a block, like so. And that's going to give you some more space to really come into the full expression of the pose, lengthening through that right arm. Now, if your neck is feeling comfortable, you may choose to send your gaze towards the right hand, or you may choose to just gaze towards the big toe. But I want you to imagine 2 panes of glass that you're pressed in between. So trying to keep a nice straight length with the body. It's really easy to spay that right arm open or kind of round forward. So really focus on coming into a straight line with the body. Taking one beautiful deep breath here. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back into star pose. Taking Trikonasana on the other side now. So taking that back foot in, right foot comes out facing the front of the mat or the shorter side of the mat. Again, drawing those shoulders away from the ears as we lengthen through the body. Inhale as you hinge forward, and exhale as you place that palm either on the shin or on a block. So again, completely up to you. And just check in with how it feels. So I feel lovely lengthening through the left side of my body here. Does that feel good, or do you feel like you need to move a bit more to feel the full expression of the pose? So completely up to you. And taking one final deep breath here. Coming back to center. We're going to remove the block, and actually we're not coming back to center. We're going to bend this right knee and come into Skandasana. So with Skandasana, we're coming onto the ball of the right foot, lengthening through that left leg and keeping that left foot nice and active. Now, it may be tricky to find your balance here, so just try and work with it if you can. If you're feeling the balance and you're fully comfortable in this pose, you may choose to close your eyes and see how that challenges you. But for everyone else, we're just almost going to try and sit on that right heel, really lengthening through the spine, through the crown of the head, bringing the palms to heart center. Taking a deep inhale here. And then slowly we're going to start to move over to the other side. So keeping our hips nice and low as we transfer the weight over to the left side. Again, coming onto the ball of this left foot, left knee is out nice and wide as we lengthen through the right leg, keeping that right foot nice and flexed. You're doing really well. Holding here for one more breath. And then when you're ready, we're just going to press the palms into the mat, releasing that back foot, and then coming to a seated position. So keeping that right leg nice and lengthened, long, keeping that right foot nice and active. We're just going to shuffle the hips over and just take that left foot on the inside of the right leg. So coming into a seated twist now. So just taking the left hand behind you, and careful not to bring too much weight into that left shoulder or left arm. We don't want to just rest and hang out here, but really just a light touch, a light support with that left hand. Bringing the knee in towards the center of the body and just coming into a gentle twist. So taking that right palm, resting it on the outside of that left knee and just turning to twist behind you. Really lengthening with each inhale, and see if you can use the extra space as you exhale to twist even deeper. Good. Taking one more deep breath here. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back to center and take that on the other side. So lengthening through the left leg this time, taking the right foot on the inside of that left leg, keeping that left foot nice and active as we take the right hand behind us and come into an easy twist. So taking that left hand on the outside of the right knee and turning to twist. Good. Taking one final deep breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly coming back to center. We're going to lengthen those feet out now and come into our final restorative pose of today's practice, which is supine butterfly or Baddha Konasana. So we're coming into butterfly pose first, and here is the wonderful time when you can grab your bolster or your bed pillows. I've got my bed pillows here, act as a perfect bolster substitute, and just place them behind you like so. So we're coming into butterfly position, and depending on how your body feels today, you can draw the feet in towards the body, and that's going to deepen the stretch in the groin area. So if that's comfortable for you, then you can do that. But if you want to take it a bit easier today, or it's just not feeling good to stretch out your groin that much today, then you may decide that you want to walk the feet out forward, and that's completely fine. Again, just do whatever works for you and how you feel in your body today. So we're just going to shuffle ourselves to the bottom of our bolster or bed pillows, Coming into whichever variation with the feet that feels good. So soles of the feet together, knees are out wide, and you may want to grab a couple of blocks to support the knees here, or a cushion, because the more that we spay out the knees, the more intense feeling we're going to get in the groin, and having a support on the knees is just going to ease that a little bit. So completely up to you. Take whatever props you need, and then when you're ready, we're slowly going to recline and come into our reclined Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly. Really feeling that opening in the chest, letting the arms flop out wide. Or you may choose to bring the palms to the belly, perhaps in Yoni Mudra again, or just resting on the womb space. And just holding here. So if you're practicing at home and you have lots of time, then you can stay here for as long as you like. I love to stay here for 5 to 10 minutes if I have that luxury, and just really release myself into the bolster, into the pillows. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to stay here for a couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, just removing the bed pillows and coming into your final resting position of Shavasana. So for Shavasana, you may choose that you want to have a cushion underneath the head, or perhaps a bolster or a cushion underneath the knees. That's completely fine and up to you, whatever's going to help you fully relax and release into this pose. So again, if you're at home and you have the luxury of a bit of extra time, then please stay in Shavasana for as long as you need. It's the most important pose, and even more important when we're menstruating. Trying to recoup that energy, just rest and restore the body. But again, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to act like it's the end of our Shavasana. So just wiggling the fingers and the toes, starting to bring the awareness back into the body. Taking the arms overhead, coming into a stretch if you're waking up from really big sleep. Drawing the knees in towards the body, giving yourself a really well-deserved hug. Perhaps just rocking from side to side, just massaging that lower back one more time. And then keeping your eyes closed, just rocking over to the right side. Just holding here for a few more minutes, moments even, as your body catches up. And then when you're ready, just pressing back up into seated. Bringing the palms to heart center and just taking a bow to yourself, thanking yourself for practicing today. I thank you so much for practicing with me. Taking an inhale as we raise the palms towards the ceiling, and exhale. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed that practice, and I will see you soon for the next one.